All right. Good morning, guys. I'm meteorologist Ben Peine here on this Ben at 10 Friday edition, TGIF, Friday the 13th. But thankfully, nothing to be afraid of today. We have sunshine, I almost said 70s. There might be a 70 next week, but sunshine and 50s out there for today, which is fairly mild and almost no wind out there. Just a very nice, peaceful Friday for us. And then we're looking at some rain moving in late Valentine's Day, more towards the evening time tomorrow, and then into Sunday morning. Should see that rain tapering off Sunday afternoon. And then we're looking at some spring-like conditions that we've been advertising all week long for next week. So plenty to talk about there. And then we'll look at the long-range data as well. So we're live back from the kitchen this morning, which I, on Fridays, often just work from home. But happy this week to be back in the Extol Media Studios, the new Extol Media Studios. And we're going to be live there with Extol Unfiltered, firing back up Extol Unfiltered at 9 a.m. Monday. So looking forward to that with Angie Fenton. And we'll be looking at some comments here popping in this morning. Let me know if you got a thermometer on the back porch. Let me know what your current conditions are back there. It was kind of a chilly start, a lot of frost out there with temperatures in the upper 20s in most locations this morning, but a pretty good warm up on the way for today with full force blue sky, which I see right outside the weather window, 5,000 this morning. We are powered by the Starlink, and I've got a lot of stuff loaded up here. So we're hoping that it continues to power our internet. There might be a little drop off every once in a while. If that happens, it should pop right back on. But again, still waiting on the pre-order of the fiber internet to really power us here out in the boonies, out in the woods. So we are starting off here at 10:01. Again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for liking or sharing or subscribing, whether you're watching on YouTube, Extol Media, Extol Weather on Facebook, and on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, which you can see right there. And extolmag.com/weather. We are also live streaming this morning. So again, that's what we're going to be talking about. We also got your weather history, your weather countdown, your weather jokes, all that fun stuff as well. We got a full show on this Friday. And it is a beautiful start to the day, by the way. Hey, we got a happy Friday the 13th here from Emmanuel, tuning in from Indianapolis, Indiana. Perry Porter, good morning. Let's get that rain over with for the 70s. We're going to try. We're going to flirt with maybe our first 70 of 2026 next Wednesday. We got a good morning to Beverly Hagest, waving to you across the Borden Valley. And Dennis Gregory, waving to your direction. Right out the window there, too, up to the northwest in Bedford. Full sunshine. Woohoo. And Emmanuel saying, is there a cool down in like a week or two? I think we'll get a cool down, and that's a good way to put it, Emmanuel, because I don't think it's going to be like a real cold spell, but I think we'll probably have a front move through next Friday and then maybe a cool down for that following weekend, which there's a polar plunge benefiting Special Olympics that I think I'm a part of at Deem Lake over here in the Borden Valley. So we'll be talking about that as well. So just over a week, I did the polar plunge probably like 21 years ago, in the Lake of the Ozarks. And it's an exhilarating experience if you've never done the polar plunge. And also, a lot of these lakes still have ice on them. So this water is going to be probably extra chilly despite the warm up next week. Good morning to John Fox. And we've got a good morning to Orlean Whitlow, 37 degrees this morning. And happy birthday to my son tomorrow, who's actually right by my side because Prosser did not have school this morning. So he's getting ready for Borden High School right now. All right. Thanks for tuning in here, guys. Again, if you're new to the program, feel free to drop in the comments. Let me know a weather question, any question, whatever you want it to be. And we'll be talking about that. Let us know where you're watching from, too. As we pull up here, let me bring this up to the stage. And let me get rid of my name on the bottom there. This is a nice, clear sky that we have all around the region. Well, I'm looking out the window. I don't see a cloud in the sky. I don't see much happening here on the radar and satellite. So it is beautiful out there. And let me bring up some more current conditions. Let me hit the refresh button. Happy Friday, by the way, for just tuning in, 10:04. And we're getting started 31 degrees now at the Extol Studios with a wind gust at 7. So the winds are going to be very, very light for today. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, your weather resource here at extolmag.com/weather. You got your daily your daily forecast right here. It's got that rain. Could be a little bit heavy at times, Saturday night into Sunday. That will take you all the way through next week with that forecast. And then you got your hourly forecast here for today. It's got your sky conditions, temperature, precipitation, wind, humidity, all that good stuff. And the brand new 7-day forecast that I've slapped on the page this morning. I've also updated the new weather story right here, which includes, again, the weather history, the weather jokes, the weather countdown, some weather maps, a lot of the stuff that we'll show here on the program. And you've got also a look at your national, regional radars and watches and warnings if you ever want to take a look at that as well. As far as a severe weather, it can start to ramp up this time of the year as we start to warm up from the south. And it looks like just a very small threat of any strong thunderstorms down around Texas the next couple of days. So nothing doing for us as far as that goes. We also have the big and powerful interactive maps here if you ever want to play around with those. Here is the big gray map, but it can obviously turn different colors when you put on different variables. In the upper right-hand corner is this little circular button right there, and you can click on, again, dozens of different weather layers. It's got Futurecast there when you click on the rain and the thunder, and there's the visible satellite showing up, which shows a lot of the snowpack has melted across the region. It is not showing up on the visible satellite anymore. Now, this is the Futurecast. So it's now running here at the bottom of the screen. It's got a little scroller, and you're going to see come from the west as we get to our Saturday. This is going into a very early morning Saturday. You're going to start to see the progression of that rainfall moving our direction. And here's my little cursor right here. There's some of that rainfall. This is at around 4 p.m. tomorrow. Here's 5 p.m. And this is at 10, 11 o'clock. So there you can see that rain moving in tomorrow evening. Just rain. We're going to be in the 50s this weekend. So it is going to be on the mild side. Again, if you're new to the program, we like to give you the current conditions right off the bat. Look at the forecast briefly. We'll take a deeper dive into that forecast through about 10:20. And then after that, if you want to get real weather nerdy, we'll take a look at the long-range data and some of the longer range weather maps, and then we'll do a recap of your forecast as well for those popping on a little bit later in the show. But there you can see, we start to see that rain taper off Sunday afternoon, and then we're back to a lot of dry time next week, and temperatures in the 60s, again, if not threatening. No, I wouldn't say threatening, flirting with 70 degrees next Wednesday. We have another interactive map here. Where you can plot the area temperatures, which are 30s to the low 40s now. Again, the sun angle is getting higher in the sky day by day as we get closer to summertime and springtime. And our sun angle equivalent, how high the sun is in the sky, is basically pretty much equal to October. So we're getting a lot more incoming solar power. Obviously we're seeing that as we're starting to warm up. And we're getting our longer days as well. So loving that. All right, let's take a live look outside at that beautiful blue sky here with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. There's a look at the Falls of the Ohio down there by the fossil beds. And again, not seeing a cloud in the sky on this fantastic Friday, the 13th morning. I did some digging because I was curious, when was the last time we had a Friday the 13th? I think it was June of last year. And statistically, we typically have 1 or 2 Friday the 13th per year, but this year is an odd one. We have 3 Friday the 13th this year. So hopefully that's a good thing. It doesn't happen very often to have 3 Friday the 13th. Sunset is around 6:20. Then you got twilight through about 6:30, 6:40, something like that. I had a weather-related question for my son Brady. Lillian Lasley's got 39 degrees at the house. Beverly Haggis says, happy birthday, Brady. Vicky Berger with a hello this morning, and another happy birthday, Brady. Christian Walker, good morning. 36 degrees up there in Carmel, Indiana. Hey, you have a fantastic time, Christian Walker. Thanks for tuning in. I, too, am on the second large cup of coffee. It's Friday, so we celebrate with a little creamer in the second cup of coffee. And Gail Lemons with 37 degrees in your neck of the woods there in Sellersburg. And happy birthday to my main man. Thank you very much for all the happy birthdays for Brady. All right, let's take a look at the forecast here. We'll bring this bad boy up to the stage as it loads up. It should be loading up anytime here. There we go. The Starlink is just a tad bit slower than the Extol Media Studios. All right, so we got 50s of sunshine for today, for our February the 13th. Rain late Saturday into Sunday. We'll see that with the weather model maps here in just a second. And then we got the temperatures on the rise next week. I think we're talking 60s Monday through Friday. I think we're going to be in 60s all next week. Time to break out the golf clubs for that. Looking forward to that for sure. That winter losing its grip on Kentuckiana, Southern Indiana, and Kentucky. Hey, we want to thank our partners here before we get rocking and rolling and deep diving into that forecast. And one of our newer partners here with Clogbusters with the Z Plumbing Services, 859-495-3552 is the number to call if you have any issues with your plumbing. And I know a lot of people in Kentucky have over the last month because of the extreme cold that we had. I know they were very, very busy. But if you need any help plumbing-wise, installing or repairing or just on a schedule for maintenance, give them a shout. Or you can go to clogbusterswithazplumbing.com. They've also got a way you can just message them on their website right there. And I was talking to these guys yesterday, and you'll hear from Kyle Lyons, the Director of Operations, Vice President of Lyons Roofing, a little bit later in the show. Protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. A reminder, if you had any roof issues because of the hailstorm last March, a lot of insurance companies will give you up to around a year to make that claim. So good reminder there. But if you have any roofing issues, gutter repair, if you're a builder and you want a roofer here, you got 812-294-3595 or lionsroofingco.com. Shout out to our partners here at Ivy Tech Community College. Speaking of springtime, they've got a golf scramble on May 8th. If you go to their Facebook page, you can find ways to register, sign up there, or sponsor some holes May 8th, and that's at Champions Point. But academically wise, if you go to ivytech.edu, go to campuses and go to Sellersburg, there you can get hooked up with a bunch of information to learn more about all of their programs, dozens of 2-year certifications, dual credit. They are building a family scholar house out there for single mothers. They're building the Baptist Health Urgent Care Center. They're expanding, becoming a community hub, empowering the workforce here in Southern Indiana. Shout out to my insurance agent as well, Michael Long, proud to be an American Star certified agency, excellence in customer experience. If you want to call and get a quote, you can call him 812-578-3072 or go to his page right here at amfam.com and search Michael Long. So thanks to all of our partners there. There's also one more organization that I want to talk about since it is springtime, and that is Grant Line Garden Center and Nursery right on Grant Line Road. If you are getting spring fever here and you want to get in there and maybe get some tropical plants or just get the spring vibes going, you can head into their nursery and check out how busy they are getting those plants ready to go for you. So thanks again to all of our partners out there on the show. And again, just a beautiful Friday morning. And let's, again, start to deep dive into that forecast here for you. And one more thing to mention, and we'll get back to some comments as well. Liking a lot of the comments here, a lot of activity this morning on a Friday. You can always contact me for advertising marketing solutions, or if you just have a deeper dive into a weather question, feel free to reach out anytime. Ben at xtolmag.com. That's my email address. Hey, we got the Borden Community Polar Plunge. So, Brady, you going to do that with me? Yes? I think it was a yes. Saturday, February 21st, so a little over a week. Registration, 10 to 11:30 at Dean Lake. The plunge is at noon. Who's with me? Who's taking the Polar Plunge? I think I've got maybe a couple buddies to join me. Another event coming up, Juicebox Heroes. A lot of you know these guys. Amazing local band here. And the Suburbans, you've got a food trucks, live music, and it's an event benefiting Jessica's Journey Foundation. You can learn more and get tickets at jessicasjourneyfoundation.com. And this is April 4th, 2026. Mark your calendars there at Melwood Art Center. Again, our weather headlines for our Friday the 13th, 50s and sunshine today, rain late Saturday into Sunday, and warm weather next week. How many days until? Average highs in the 50s and 7 days. Our time change in 23 days. It's counting down. Spring, just over a month, March 20th. And Thunder over Louisville in 64 days. I think I've got those numbers right. Sometimes I got to recheck those numbers. Sometimes they get out of hand. Today's weather history: 1899, a Gulf Coast cold snap. Record cold New Orleans and Pensacola at around 7 degrees. Mobile at 1 below. Tallahassee 2 below. Indianapolis also had a record low of 17 below zero. Yeah, way back in I don't think many of us remember that one. 1905 Midwest record lows. All-time record set in Arkansas at 29 below. Lebanon, Kansas 40 below and 40 below in Missouri. The year 2000 came around with Georgia tornadoes. February 13th to 14th, 6 tornadoes in southwest Georgia, 19 killed, 202 injured, 35 million in damage. Crazy. And I started working in Augusta, Georgia, a little bit after that in 2005. And then in 2006, New York City and New England had a blizzard. New York City Central Park, all-time heaviest snowstorm, 27 inches back in 2006. 30 inches in Connecticut, 18 inches in Boston. Wild weather this time of year. Our stupid jokes of the day. A guy wiped out on his bike riding on one wheel. It was a wheelie bad accident. These are going to be tough to get through. These are extra stupid today. Always guaranteed to be stupid. Do you need to build an ark? Because I know a guy. I watched a show about beavers last night. Best damn show ever. Little PG-13 there. There's our stupid jokes of the day. All right, our forecast here for today for our Friday, February 13th. Sunshine, sunny and pleasant, 54 degrees. That is not quite 10 above normal, but well above normal. Calm and quiet with just a very light south breeze today. And tonight, low of 34 degrees, not as cold, mostly clear sky. And we'll start off with some sunshine tomorrow. Then we'll see increasing clouds as the system approaches our area. Likely becoming pretty cloudy by the afternoon. Then the rain moves in the evening time. So you might be able to get out to your date night dry for your Valentine's and then plan on some rain maybe heading back home as that moves in toward the evening. Our 7-day forecast, we've got 57 Saturday, so actually pretty mild before the rain moves in. Lower 50s on Sunday as the rain moves out Sunday afternoon. Picking up around a half inch to an inch of rainfall. I think a half inch is probably a pretty good number for much of the area. The heaviest will be southern Kentucky. And then around 60 Monday for Washington's birthday. 64 Tuesday. 70 Wednesday. We're going to try for that 70 on Wednesday. And then maybe a couple showers trying to develop occasionally Thursday, Friday. We'll be fine-tuning that as we get closer. But it still looks mild with temperatures in the mid-60s right there. Had a lot of comments popping in, so let me see here. We got a happy Friday from Christian Walker. And Orleans saying, it's hard to believe just a week ago we were covered in snow and ice, and now it's gone. Yay. Yeah, I mean, I see a couple little patches in the yard, but you're right. It is mostly gone now. Carol Payne, 38 in Georgetown right now. Love when we start talking about Derby. Spring is on the way. Happy birthday to Brady from Lillian Lasley. Thank you very much. And Christian, you have an awesome time at your 5th Tim Tebow prom. That is awesome. Erica from Charlestown, good morning. And the rest of the Extol weather friends. It's sunny here in Charlestown. Work kept me busy and joined late. You're still early on the show. It's no big deal. And Beverly saying, my husband's cousin used to do the polar bear plunge in Wisconsin. Or that'd be extra cold up that way. Beverly loving the jokes. Lillian loving the jokes. Got love from the jokes from Orlean and Christian Walker. Thank you guys. And Teresa Thomas, we need calm and quiet. Much welcomed. I think we deserve it. The weather's kind of the law of averages. You get slammed in January like we did, and then so far February has been pretty tame, thankfully. And we got a happy birthday to my pro golfer son, from Perry Porter. Thank you very much, Perry. All right, we're going to start to dig into the models here. So let me get rid of this, and we'll bring up some of the weather maps. As it is 10:19. Hey, we're right on time on a Friday. Typically around 10:20 is when we start to get a little extra weather nerdy here. So we are bringing up the RadSat Cheers. Again, we got the Bliss Cup this morning. Start breaking out the big happy cup again soon. As the weather's getting happier. But again, expand out our view here. So there's a system starting to move into the desert southwest, the Four Corners region. That is some of the energy that is going to be spreading our way and giving us the rain. So it's just starting to move in to the southwestern United States, but it's there, and we are going to see that with a high resolution weather model data. And so we'll be able to time this out in pretty good detail here for you for your weekend plans. A lot of Saturday during the day looks dry, and then plan on that rain Saturday night through at least Sunday morning, probably lingering longer into Sunday afternoon for our Kentucky friends. All right, let me get rid of that. Let me get out of the full screen here. And let's bring up now let's go the NAM 3 kilometer with the future radar, the weather models here. And this should get us at least through a lot of the rain system this weekend. The NAM will get us all the way through it, but I wanted to see some high resolution data. So let's go to the February 14th time frame, and we'll just start it off at like 10 o'clock in the morning, as we will be all dry here. So there's the system. I love that high res data. It looks so much better than the blobby mid long range weather models. But you can see really soaking and soggy there in Missouri at 10 a.m., but we are still looking dry. Okay. And there's some dry air that this is going to be fighting initially. So as we look here into the afternoon, I'm going to jump ahead about 4 hours to 2 p.m. Saturday. So initially it shows some light green over us. I think that's probably going to be some virga. Virga is precipitation that's falling, but it's drying out before it hits the ground. It can kind of look just kind of like misty, little gray underneath the clouds, little purple underneath the clouds. So I think, again, we're fighting some dry air initially. So I do think most of our daytime is dry tomorrow. We'll go to 4 o'clock tomorrow as this system begins to spread more towards our area. So there's the potential, if it speeds up late afternoon, we get some sprinkles. There you can see this is at 4 p.m. And then we'll go to around 6, 7 o'clock for us here tomorrow. And we've got Sue Shively with a good morning. Have a blessed day. Enjoy the warm weather and be safe. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is 7 o'clock. And we'll go to 10 p.m. tomorrow. And we start to get steadier and steadier rain as we head into the late night hours. Pretty big wet system. There you can see the rain and heavy rain and some thunderstorms down over the Gulf Coast states down in Arkansas. But just plain rain for us. No severe weather or anything like that. Take this out into, let's just go to our Sunday morning at 7 a.m. as the rain continues through our Saturday night and again into our Sunday morning. Just taking a second to load up there. There you can see again, widespread rain over the area. The shutoff for you friends up in Indianapolis is right around I-70. So I think you'll get a little rain out of this, but there's a sharp cutoff in this system to the north. But a soggy start nonetheless there to our Sunday morning. And I'm going to switch over to the NAM weather model. That's as far out as the NAM 3 kilometer goes. And then we'll push this ahead into, let's just go around 1 p.m. Sunday. There you can see southern Indiana drying out first with that rain lingering a bit longer in Kentucky. And then 4 p.m., we're starting to see more and more areas drying out. And let's see if we got a precip total out of this. And I think I got to go to the GFS weather model to bring up the total precipitation by the 15th afternoon, Sunday. So this is not snow. I know it's kind of blue colors. I would rather this be like green and yellow. I need to change this somehow. But this is the color palette that we have working right now. This is rainfall total. Again, too warm for any frozen precipitation with this system. But there you can see in those colors, it's showing around an inch or so. And then north of 64, about a half inch or so. So generally, maybe a little bit heavier over central southern Kentucky with this rainfall. And again, not enough to really cause any hydrology issues, meaning water. I don't think we'll see any significant flooding. Now, some of those smaller creeks and tributaries might be swelling up a little bit, but no significant flooding out of this, despite some soggy ground across the area. We should be able to handle a half inch to an inch of rainfall for most of the area, despite runoff season. We don't have the plants to soak up any of this. We don't have, any of that to help out. And the ground's, again, pretty saturated from the recent snow melt. And boy, do I know that, because it is dog paw season around here. We do have the towels out. We do have the water to dip their paws, but it is still it's at least a mop a day around here with the dogs. All right, let's look at the good news here. That's the weekend story. We're going to bring up the temperature map, as we are going to be on the warm side of things. As we mentioned, just watch the yellow, watch the orange. That's your 60s. And let's go to our Monday afternoon. This is February the 16th. And there you can see it's starting to nudge into our area. So I would say 50s much of the day Monday, but I think we'll maybe top out briefly around 60 degrees. Sometimes these maps are a little conservative with these numbers, but that is nice right there. And hey, it's nice today. We're going to be mid 50s in many locations for this afternoon. Going into the 17th, so this is our Tuesday next week at around 4 p.m.-ish. And I would say these are conservative numbers, as well as I am going to go ahead and go to around 64 on Tuesday. It does look like the warmest weather begins to spread in on Wednesday. That would be the 18th. And there it is. There's that surge of warmth up to the north. So that puts everybody well into the 60s, if not near 70 degrees. Might be a little bit breezy as well for Wednesday. Speaking of which, I think we've got a wind gust map here. A little breezier up to the north, actually. This shows Wednesday gusts around 20, 30 miles an hour. Much stronger wind gusts near the center of low pressure to the north. 50-mile-per-hour gusts up in Iowa and in southern Wisconsin. All right, we're going to go into our Thursday with the warmth continuing. And that will be Thursday the 19th. And on Thursday, the model is showing a chance for a little bit of rain developing, as we'll kind of have a stationary front nearby, but still on the warm side. And bring up the reflectivity here. And there you can see a few spotty showers around the region. Right there you can see on Thursday. Doesn't look like anything real significant with that. And they will plow ahead here into our February the 20th. So that'll be next Friday. Okay, so we've actually had a few comments popping in. Emmanuel, could use the rain. Happy birthday to your son. Thank you very much. Emmanuel wants St. Patrick's Day snow. I say no. Don't will that to happen. It can happen, though. And actually, I think I'm going to be a judge in the St. Patrick's Parade in Louisville on the Highlands. So if you're heading out to that, wave if you see me. I'll be one of the judges out there. And then I do want to mention, I think this is the last day to sign up. I posted this on my Facebook page yesterday. Louisville Leadership Southern Indiana. I'll be doing a speech, a talk during their Lunch and Learn next Thursday, February the 19th. That's in Jeffersonville. If you want to sign up for that, check my Facebook page post from yesterday. So after I give that speech, a couple days later, we got the Polar Plunge for Special Olympics, Indiana, at Deem Lake. Join me there, would you? And then after that, in March, I think I'm going to be a judge at one of the biggest parades in Kentucky, if not the biggest parade in Kentucky, the St. Patrick's Parade. Looking forward to some fun stuff heading our way. And then we'll be at Wednesday, WINS Wednesday, Derby Week. That's where you can buy. I shared that on Facebook too. You can buy tickets that help charities, and you get to go to Derby Week, at least Wednesday. Thank you very much, Christian, for the happy birthday to my son. And Boyd Whitlow, good morning. 44 degrees now in LaRue County. You guys are warming up nicely, and thanks for the happy birthday to my son as well. All right, so that is look at. Sorry, I had a little tangent there with all the activities coming up. All right, so that is look at the February 20th. So it looks like a front moves through Friday. That's why you see some of those cooler blue colors moving into the area. And we can bring up the precip here. It doesn't look like there's a lot of precip with that Friday as the front moves in. Most of it's to the north. There's a look at a little bit of that along the front. This is Friday morning at 4 a.m. A little bit of a rain chance there. But let's get back to the temperature map as we start to look at the long range data. Since we're going to go ahead and look at the long range and play out the rest of this weather model, that means it is time for Ben on a limb. We're going out on a limb here and look at the long range data. So we want to just feast our eyes here. We are starting to get into the time period where spring-like conditions fight polar air. And of course, we are in the middle of the country, and that means we are in the battleground area. So what we're watching is these are negative numbers up here in Canada. These are 60s and 70s, and we're kind of sitting right in the middle. And that could mean a more active weather pattern. When we are sitting in what's called a baroclinic zone or a temperature gradient, that is where stationary fronts line up. That's where the jet stream is going to be flying. That's where a more active weather pattern can be. And that might end up being a weather pattern for the end of February. But let's look at the temperature map here and let's roll it out. This is, again, our February 20th. Let's go to the 21st. This is Saturday, the polar plunge at Deem Lake Day. And it looks like some cooler air begins to move in, but not bad. That shows highs in the 40s. The warm air goes back down along the Gulf Coast. So maybe a little bit of a cool down next weekend, going into Sunday, the 22nd. And definitely on the cooler side. Notice the warmer colors get pushed down into the Gulf. We are looking at a normal kind of chilly conditions, and the really cold air is up north of the border. Going into the 23rd, this would be a Monday. And we mentioned last week that the last week of February might just be on the cooler side. So next week is the warmest week of February. The following week, as we wrap up February, might be on the chillier side, but not extreme cold. This is showing temperatures here around 40 or so. So might end up February just a little bit on the cooler side. I'm going to go to February the 24th. And I'm not sure what day that is, but show some cool colors over the area. Not seeing the yellow and oranges back just yet. This is going into the 25th of February, still on the normal cool side. And then going into the 26th, starting to see some milder temperatures return in the 50s there. And now going into the 27th, we are 351 hours out with the GFS weather model. You can see the yellow and the orange starting to win out a little bit more. And here we go into the 28th, the very last day of February. And you can see maybe we start to get some warmer conditions as we head into March, perhaps. That is showing maybe some 60s returning right around there. This is now going into March 1st, but the very early morning hours. And maybe we're on the warmer side as we head into March, but also possibly the wetter side. So let's take a look at that as well. Oops, I'm going to get off full screen, get out of that. And we are going to fire up the total precipitation for the rest of the month. Oops, still drawing. Let me get rid of the drawing. And again, this is not snow. This is rainfall totals. That's not too bad. 1 to 2 inches for the rest of the month if that happens. Much heavier, like a bullseye of heavier rain off to our southwest. But again, our weather pattern might become a little bit more active later this month as we're kind of sitting in between cold air north and warm air south. And actually, that means probably no snow or very little snow chance the rest of this month. And an inch or two, we'll take that. Maybe it'll be a fairly tame February after a pretty harsh January overall. All right, so let me get rid of that map and bring up one other thing here before we do a forecast recap here for you. It's the climate predictions 6 to 10-day outlook. And I think you're going to like the colors that pop on this map. There you go. Big warm bubble of air. That is showing next week. So that is pretty much all of next work week, above normal temperatures, the cool air out over the West Coast. Beyond that, I do think we get a little bit cooler, not next week, but the following weekend, maybe some cooler air tries to spill in. So as we look at the 8 to 14-day outlook, initially above normal, 8 days out, and then probably some cooler air after that. So that's the long-range outlook there. And I'll just get rid of this map since that's all I really want to show with that as we look at some current conditions and do a forecast recap. Beautiful conditions out there on this Friday morning. Good Friday morning, Friday the 13th to you. Thank you very much, Christian, for the happy birthday to my son. Looks like March might come in like a lamb. Possibly. Let's hope so. And hopefully leave like a lamb. March can throw some bad stuff at us. We've had, obviously, some of the worst tornado outbreaks in March. We don't want any of that to happen. All right, let's bring up the weather headlines and get rocking and rolling. One more time at some current conditions. I'll do a little refresh here at extolmag.com/weather, your 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week weather resource. You got your live stream up there. Feel free to hit subscribe on that YouTube channel. Thank you very much. 36 degrees. That was likely just a second ago. I think some areas are probably already up to around 40 as we're warming up pretty quickly thanks to this full force sunshine across the area. There's the 7-day forecast, the weather story, and all that good stuff as well. And let me get rid of that and bring this up. Here's our weather headlines for today. 50s of sunshine out there. Enjoy that. Almost no wind. Very peaceful today. Rain moves in Saturday evening into Sunday. We should trend drier Sunday afternoon, then pretty warm for next week. You guys watching the Olympics? I haven't watched a whole lot. I watched some of the women's snowboarding yesterday. Chloe Kim's awesome. I think she got second place, something like that. I think what is it, the quad god, the guy, the Ilian who does the backflips on the ice. I think he's tonight. I check that out. All right, so average highs in the 50s in 7 days. Time change in 23 days. Spring begins in just over a month, and thunder over Louisville in 64 days. Nice. Weather history here. We're going to put this up on my page at noon today. But record cold in Indianapolis on this date back in 1899, 17 below zero. Still record cold in many locations. And our stupid jokes of the day. A guy wiped out on his bike riding on one wheel. It was a really bad accident. Do you need to build an ark? Because I know a guy. I watched a show about beavers last night. Best damn show ever. All right. Your forecast for your Friday the 13th, 54 degrees, sunny and pleasant, calm and quiet, light south wind, sunset at 6:19. And tomorrow, 34 degrees, or not tomorrow, tonight, mostly clear and a low of 34 degrees. Not as cold tonight as we dropped down to the 20s earlier this morning. Had some of that frost. Here's your Valentine's forecast. 34 if you're up and out early, 48 at noon, 57. Nice to have a Saturday Valentine's. 4 p.m. high, 57. Should be dry through most of the afternoon. But as we head towards sunset, we'll start to see our light rain chances increasing and then some heavier showers Saturday night and Sunday morning. So the 7-day reflects our rain chances this weekend with 50s up around 60 for Washington's birthday Monday, 64 Tuesday, 70 we're going to try for Wednesday. We're going to try to will that to happen. And then 60s Thursday, Friday. Might see a couple showers around Thursday and Friday, but I don't see any big storm systems for next week. So pretty good looking forecast there from your Extol weather nerd here on a Friday. There you go. All right, I'm going to back some of these graphics up here. Before we wrap up, I got a little interview here for you guys that are still on the show and maybe watching the replay. Get to know Kyle Lyons from Lyons Roofing. Let me bring this up to the program here. Kyle Lyons here from Lyons Roofing Company joining us here on the show this morning. Kyle, thanks for being with us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and tell us the origin story about Lyons Roofing and what your role is in the company.
Well, so Lyons Roofing kind of came around in, I'm trying to think of the exact It was, it kind of started as a smaller family business, just a way for Terry Lyons to make a little extra money when he was in the military. So he kind of helped out some friends and some family when we lived in Virginia.
Okay.
And then when we moved up here to Indiana, we have a small family farm up in Memphis. So we moved back up here after he retired from the Army. And then kind of started the same thing here in around the 2000 range up here in southern Indiana.
Okay.
And slowly, he worked at Haas Cabinet for a short time, slowly jumped in and, just progressively kind of built the company more and more. We kind of built it on the foundation of expertise and service for our customers.
Sure.
So, it's one of those things that we've all put years and years of time in. Myself, I run the operations for the company. I've literally been installing shingles. I think I laid my first one when I was about 11 years old.
So you're familiar with the slope of a roof.
Yeah. So nice. I was on a little shed in my backyard helping my dad.
Oh, cool.
Fun memory. So
It's as a lot of people know, it's not an easy job depending on the weather.
No, it's not.
Now, speaking of the weather here, it was a big event. Let me bring this up here. Almost a year ago, so coming up March 15th, and this had a big impact, I believe, on your company and an impact on my mom's roof. So this is my mom's roof. It was a hailstorm, but there was also wind with it, and so this tree fell right through my mom's roof and put a lot of holes in it. There was some water damage as well. So, personally for, working with DJ Zip, who works with you guys as well. And that was, I don't know how complicated that is for you guys, but that's when you have a weathered roof after 7 years, you guys had to match up the shingle colors to make it look like it's supposed to look.
Right. So what we do, we kind of go through a little bit of a process with that. So a lot of it kind of comes back to, we've seen so many roofs over the years, so we can kind of look at a shingle and just say, hey, that's what this color is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where it will not match. The customers think, well, I had this black roof and 10 years down the road, it's still going to be black, and that's not going to be the case. So in that case, what we try to do is we try to match it the best we can. It's not always going to happen that way, but we do the best we can to make the customer's house look the best we can.
It looked great for her. So, and I also appreciate, DJ working with her. My mom is up in age a little bit. Sorry, Mom. But working with the insurance company and just, all the logistics on that. So you guys made it really easy. So I appreciate that. And speaking of March 15th, I mean, that was a game changer because things were kind of slow the winter before, and then boom.
Yeah.
And a lot of people around the area might not know because they weren't hit by it, but locally in Indiana and southern Indiana specifically, there was a streak that went over the neighborhoods and it made you guys rather busy.
Yeah, there was I think the numbers were up around 40,000 houses that were affected.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, so it was a learning experience for not just us, but I think a lot of companies around here dealing with that volume.
The volume.
Yeah, and it was very fortunate being a hailstorm, and it wasn't a major wind event or anything like that. People have time. They had a little bit of time and didn't have to worry about their roofs being, their house is leaking right away. Some people did have that issue if there were broken skylights and things.
Right.
But, it's more of a kind of a slower kind of start.
So, I mean, if the hail dents it and it's not leaking, you can kind of hold off for a little while.
Yeah. And a lot of people choose to do that. So a lot of people choose to wait. We're still getting calls right now.
Wow.
People that are just, they've waited for the mass influx of everybody kind of, wanting to get in there at the front of the line.
They're heavy.
They waited for the back.
Get the truck there. Speaking of that, waiting too long, we were talking earlier about this, that a year is a lot of insurance companies will give you a year to make that claim. So if you see issues with your roof that may have been because of the March 15th storm, that timeline's coming up quick.
Right. Yeah. So and it's not in every case, but most cases you want to file before that 1 year mark. You might want to look into your policy. Some policies allow it to go a little bit longer, but as long as you notify your insurance company before that March 15th date, then you'll be fine.
Very good. So keep that in mind if you have any roofing issues. And a lot of times, if you're like me, you're not even paying attention to your roof, so you might want to just take a look up and.
Yeah, you can look up, or you can even just walking around at the base of your house. At the bottom of your downspouts, you'll see a pile of the actual shingle grit that will come down and kind of wash out of your downspout. So that's a good indicator that you've had some wear. Some people may have already had an inspection and, they didn't have any damage at the very beginning. And it's something that with the weathering and everything that we've had this year, they could have another inspection and just say, hey, now it's showing. Yeah. So, it's a lot of times that happens as well. There's some houses that show a little bit in the beginning, and then after 6 months of weathering, they show a lot more damage down the road.
So take a look. Yeah. And I want to show your nice website here too. It's lionsroofingco.com. Protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. People have heard me say that quite a bit. But you can call them 812-294-3595. And so it says free quotes on here. So you can do that online?
Yes.
Okay, so you just click on the free quote. You can also, there you can see the form that you can fill out right there. But service is not only directly related to roofing, I guess. Gutters, downspouts?
Gutters, downspouts, siding, fascia metal. So basically anything exterior. We don't do windows.
Okay.
But anything exterior besides that.
And you got reviews on here. You can see a lot of your recent work as well. You can also head to Lions Roofing on Facebook, and I noticed you guys got the drone up a lot of times, and we'll take a look at your recent work. So take a look at all that. It's easy to do right there. Again, lionsroofingco.com, lionsroofingco.com, and you can get a lot of more information right there. One last weather question here for you. What is the best weather for a roofer?
What do you mean? Do the
Like
work?
if you're doing the work.
The best weather for a roofer and doing the work is
Have a good one, dude.
70s.
60s.
Yeah, 60s and 70-degree mark. I mean, it's comfortable. You can usually add about 10 to 15 degrees when you get up on a roof, temperature-wise.
Yeah.
So, but you get right in that time frame, and that's perfect for a guy to be out there working on it.
Be careful trying to do it yourself. I was up cleaning my mom's roof last year, and the ladder fell down, and I was stuck on a roof. So you might want to hire a professional like you guys.
Didn't call DJ.
You call TJ for that. I had to call for some help. But thanks, Kyle. Appreciate all the information.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
All right. And we are back. And always good talking to Kyle. Great folks there. Again, if you have any roofing needs, definitely give them a shout. And I do want to thank, as we wrap things up here on a Friday, some of our other partners here. If you have any plumbing needs, they got you covered here. Clogbusters Plumbing Services, 859-495-3552 throughout the Commonwealth. They've got the services and the vehicles to reach you wherever you are. And you can go to Clogbusters with a Z, plumbing.com to learn more there. And our friends here at Ivy Tech Community College, check out their Facebook page. They've always got new stuff there too happening. They've got a big scramble coming up, golf scramble May 8th. If you want to get involved in that, if you ever want to register for classes, you can learn so much just right here at their website, ivytech.edu, and then just go to campuses and then go to Sellersburg right there. And we'll be live from Ivy Tech from time to time throughout the year. I want to thank my buddy here, Michael Long. Proud to be an America Star Certified Agency, Excellence in Customer Experience. If you want to get a quote, 812-578-3072. And you can go right here to amfam.com and search Michael Long. We are getting those spring vibes, especially next week. If you are getting eager out there with your green thumb, of course, the rule of thumb is around Derby to really get things in the ground. But you might be able to get a head start on some things, maybe some indoor plants and things like that. You can go to Grant Line Nursery and Garden Center, or you can give them a call. They can help you out with some landscaping. If you don't want to do it yourself, 812-269-1271. And since we're just talking about all of our friends here, why not mention Brad Weddington? If you're ready to build your dream home, go to WeddingtonCustomHomes.com. Brad Weddington, he can make it a fun opportunity for you, a fun thing to do instead of stressful, and that is very important. And one more shout out to DeLibs Paving, the top asphalt contractor around. Want to mention them because in the upper right-hand corner, if you know someone that wants an opportunity in this new year of 2026, scroll on down to their careers page. You can apply there online. So again, thanks to all of our partners here. And what a beautiful start to the day there with a beautiful blue sky throughout the region. And you enjoy this fantastic Friday, the 13th. Nothing to be afraid of out there for today on a beautiful day. We'll end it here with Lily and Lasley. Have an awesome weekend, Ben and family. You guys have a great Valentine's Day. Just a little bit of rain this weekend to deal with, Saturday night and Sunday. And hey, next week we'll talk a lot about some warm weather. And next week, it looks like we'll be back at it from the news studios with, I think we got a video for this. There you go.
I'm Angie Fenton, and this is meteorologist Ben Peine. Start your week with Extol Unfiltered, caffeinated by NWSB.
Every Monday at 9 a.m. on Extol Media Socials and My Socials.
And my socials, too. Join the conversation.
And one last time, thanks for liking or subscribing. If you're watching the replay, thanks for tuning in. Dropping in a comment, letting us know where you're watching from. Thanks for sharing. That helps out a lot. Get the show out there to some more folks as well. And we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.